too long. This is coming from Buhari. We are nothing without women. This is coming from the reps. You want to know more about that story? You can check it on page 2 and 5. Other stories still here says insecurity. Gunmen kill 65, rape 4 girls, adopt many in Niger community. And this detail of the story can be found on page 7, and it's really a sad one because I think the stories on our paper, we have quite a number of stories coming from the human angle, especially insecurity. And we've been saying that insecurity is likely to become the order of the day, but we don't want to continue walking on that path, looking at the fact that when we just see a story, it has become like it's a normal thing for us. Little by little, we're beginning to lose our conscience. We're beginning to lose our mental health. It becomes as if it's a normal norm for us to be recording on, insecurity, rape, and issues like this. We're still calling on the government. We know they are trying their best, especially when it comes to army, police, air force. We know they are doing their best, but we are calling on them to do more. Just yesterday in the paper, we read where some soldiers and vigilantes were actually part of a kidnap group and also collected ransom. So it's this issue. When we're able to fish out all these bad eggs, then we're already on our way towards working towards succeeding when it comes to insecurity. So we're still hoping, we're still trusting that a time will come where we'll no longer be recording this number of deaths when it comes to insecurity and also rape going on in the nation. And that is all from the New Telegraph.
Thank you, Sala. Moving to Nigerian Tribune, we still have the story of 62 killed by bandits in Kebbi. Buhari unhappy, presidency says. And the story concerning this, the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has confirmed the killing of 62 vigilantes by bandits in Kebbi State. Sahara reporters can report. The president, in a statement on Tuesday by his spokesperson, Garba Shehu, expressed sadness over the tragic incident. Shehu said President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over what he described as the brutal murder of 10 of vigilante members in Kebbi State by bandits who ambushed them in the Sakaba Wasagu local government area. This egregious level of criminality is shocking, and I want to assure Nigerians that I will do all it takes to tackle this monster decisively. My greatest preoccupation is the threat to life posed by those murderous gangs and remorseless outlaws who have no slightest regards for the sanctity of life. While extending my sympathy to the families of the victim of this savagery, let me use this opportunity to also call on our security forces to be more proactive and redouble their efforts in order to frustrate the operational plans of the terrorists before they even launch attack. Just like you said, a follow-up of what you said concerning this insecurity, this is really sad because now we see that the bandits are even going after those who are assigned to safeguard the community, to safeguard properties and safeguard lives. We had where yesterday in Taraba State where there was a reprisal attack and people were killed alongside and in course of the reprisal attack. We also heard of where in a community where the civil defense officials were killed and some were even kidnapped. So you can see that these bandits are going after our security operatives. But the question is, are the security operatives, are they fully armed? Because you can't go to a battle without the weapons you need to fight all these people. Because I keep on saying these bandits don't come empty-handed. They are prepared for this because it is a battle. We shouldn't take it with levity. We shouldn't see it like it's a normal thing that is happening. It is not normal because aside attacking those communities, now attacking those people in the community, they even go after the security operatives. So our security operatives need to be armed because in tackling this, you shouldn't go there empty-handed. They need to be armed and also they need to be changed like frequently. That's why we need more deployment of security officials because if they are changed, they won't get the more they change them often, they won't get used to that particular environment that they start interacting with those people. Change them very often so that these people can see new faces and people who are ready to take this battle, because this battle we need to put our hands together to fight this battle. And the president has shown his displeasure concerning this. We say that the vigilantes are those people that help the security, help the police, help the military in tackling all this insurgency, because they know the nooks and crannies in the community. But you see this issue of them being killed. The security officials also are not left behind. They are also being killed. But the president have shown his displeasure, and he's talking to the different chief of staff to put in more effort in the fighting insecurity. We need more ammunitions. We need more skilled men to go out to these communities to fight insecurity. And we won't give up till insecurity is fought to the last. And still on the Nigerian Tribune, APC convention, Bello fixes neck meeting for next week. The rider says, Buhari has not asked me to resign. And this is from Aponudu Hehe. Reps to reconsider 3 rejected bills. Women governors' wives shut down National Assembly entrance. The big story, PDP moves to take over Ebonyi's court sacks APC's Umahi and deputy. Party nominate Igariwe Udogu as replacement for Umahi, and Igwe send names to INEC. 16 APC lawmakers also lose seat over defection. And the last rider, judge lacks the power to remove me. This is coming from Governor Umahi. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Tuesday sacked the Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi, his deputy Kelechi Igwe, along with 15 lawmakers in the state over their defection from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressive Congress, APC. Mr. Umahi and Igwe in November last year defected from the PDP, on whose platform they were elected into office in the 2015 and 2019 to the APC. The 15 lawmakers who were elected on the PDP platform had also joined them in dumping the party for the APC, determined to reclaim its mandate on suit, and the 15 lawmakers in another suit with the APC and Independent National Electoral Commission also joined as defendants in the 2 suits. The judge Inyang Eko declared the seat of the governor and his deputy and those of the 15 lawmakers vacant in his judgment on the 2 suit on Tuesday. Mr. Eko ordered the governors, his deputy, and the affected lawmakers to vacate their offices immediately. The votes in any election in Nigeria are to political parties and not candidates, the judge held. And looking at the story on defection, Sele, we've been having series of defection coming from governors, even coming from House of Reps and even Senate members defecting to the winning party. And now we can see from Ebonyi State is now rough concerning the governor and his deputy, because I feel that if you are elected into as a governor or elected into a position, it's not an individual issue. It's a party that is being elected. It's not an individual person that is elected. And you see that when they are elected, they feel, okay, it's a personal thing. I am the person elected, and they put the party aside. And aside Governor Umahi, we have other governors who have defected from one party to the other. So what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. If he's facing this by the court on defection, the vacating his office due to defection, then other governors who have defected from one party to the other also should face this. It should not just be one-sided. Others also should have a taste of all this. And on ASU strike, student block Lagos Ibadan Expressway, with details in page 15. No court can stop National Assembly from amending Electoral Act. And this is coming from the Senate President. Commuters groan as BRT buses suspend operations over Bamishe's death. And this is still a follow-up on the looking at for the death of a student who boarded the BRT bus in Lagos and was killed and her genitals removed. So this is like an investigation follow-up, and the buses have been suspended from moving in Lagos State, and people are complaining because it's another fast means of movement to stop all the long queues and also the hold-ups in Lagos. But we need to look out for this, and one life lost is a life lost to all. So they need to investigate this. People just need to be patient with the long queues now and have to be patient with boarding other means of transportation. But even aside boarding other means of transportation, we need to be careful, not just in Lagos State, but everywhere we need to be careful, because people now are having this issue of wickedness in their hearts, killings just for the quest to get fast money. So we need to be careful with the cars you enter, the tricycle you enter, any means of transportation. Clinic. While Adeleke wins Osun PDP primaries, the rider says Onyilola others hold another primary at October. Details can be found in page 15, and we learned that the second Niger bridge will be the longest bridge in Nigeria, and we just hope that it will link to other easy for people. And that's all on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
Okay, let's take a look at the Daily Independent newspaper. Many injured, properties burned as Yoruba Hausa clash in Abeokuta. This is really a sad one, where we keep having religion coming above every other thing. We just hope that we'll actually see Nigeria great. Contractor gives April date for completion of the second Niger bridge. And on APC crisis, 13 governors may leave party, insists on Buni as chairman with the rider. Party adopts zoning report, holds neck. Story can be found on page 29. Buhari expresses sadness over killing of the 63 KB vigilantes. Rep resigned decision on gender equality bills, and I know women will be happy in relation to celebrating the International Women's Day that Reps has actually taken that step. Lawan reject court ruling stopping Electoral Act amendment. Again, aviation fuel price rises. It has gone to aviation, and I know this has lingered for so long. Starting from February, we've been having the issue of the fuel scarcity, and it's still on, even though the federal government have actually given us their words that lots of trucks are actually in the various filling stations trying to see that they make it an issue of the food inflation and all these other things. So we're just hoping that all hands, agency, marketers that are supposed to be the ones to make sure that there's availability of fuel should be on their toe. They should be up and about, tie their bed, and do what is expected of them. Because it's one thing for you to say that business, and it's actually causing lots of havoc. So we're just hoping that even though it's available, and we're also already having a rise in the aviation price, that's the fuel is there. Like, it seems like there are other, evil vices biting us at various areas. So we just hope that the government will look into this and from lawyers. And we have the governor kicks vow to appeal judgment, says he remains Eboyi's governor. PDP notifies INEC names Arigwe to replace Umahi. Detail of that can be found on page 29. And we also have a picture story here on the Prime Minister of United Kingdom together with Tony Olumo, or the chairman of United.
Jazeera midweek, Reps makes U-turn to reconsider 3 rejected gender bill. The House of Representatives has bowed to pressure from Nigerian women on some of the constitutional amendment bill on gender. Women group have laid siege on the National Assembly, demanding it to rescind its decision on the 5 bills moved by Hassan Fulata, the chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business. The bill to expand the scope of citizenship criteria for indigenship and 35% affirmative action in political parties administration will now be revisited by the lawmakers. The 3 bills will now be voted on by the House in a yet of women yesterday blocked the entrance of National Assembly complex Abuja to protest the rejection of gender bill by federal lawmakers. Women's rights deteriorated significantly in 2021, and this is from AI. Customs suspend VIN automation on imported vehicles. Court ruling won't stop government allocate houses to 1994 Super Eagles. While on Osun Guba, Adeleke emerges PDP candidate. Russian invasion former Ukraine press, national women lawyers, FIDA, Ekiti State chapter, at the State House of Assembly during their peaceful protest against the rejection of 35% affirmative. And that's all the stories making headlines on the Al Jazeera midweek.
Okay, a look at the Voice of Liberty. Buhari exhort Osinbajo royalty, resourcefulness at 65. PDP moves to take over Eboyi from Umahi, submit nominees for new governors Arewa youth. And the Electoral Act court ruling won't stop the National Assembly from amending the law. This is coming from the Senate President Lawan as bill scale first reading in Senate. And on defection, we have Matawale Ayede, future uncertain. Still on insecurity, KB, terrorist massacre of 63 vigilantes, shocking. Buhari says security forces must do more. And on the Russia, UK says 2023, there is 50% chance that next governor of Kaduna may be a female. This is coming from building, and that other states will also see that women have done great, because each time we look at other women that are actually coming from Nigeria and the key role there, other government sectors will actually see the power that women actually have when it comes to ruling. And that's all on the Voice of Liberty.
Thank you. And on Sweet Crude reports, adulterated petrol, victims recount horrific experience. And up to date, people are still having this horrific experience with adulterated petrol went down. And you can see this experience. People are trying to let out their hearts on the damages all this bad petrol have caused to them and their cars, and the need again to go and discount to all those people. They're going to help these people that had this bad encounter, but they are yet to receive all this the promises that are being made to them. We just hope that it is your sector. If there is any problem coming from the sector, as the one overseeing the sector is supposed to come out and speak. We keep on hearing of Mele Kyari, that's the director of NNPC, the one speaking on this issue of the bad petroleum, bad encounter, and had these damages of the adulterated petrol spoiling their cars, their engine, and even their fuel pump. There are even time where you hear of stories where people's car, even to their vehicles, and you can see that we need money to repair all these things. So we just need answers coming from the Minister of Petroleum on how we can fix all these issues. There were promises that at the end of February, every queue, we're seeing the hike in transportation, we're seeing the hike in everything, and even down to the airfare also, the hike has affected. So it's affecting people. We just need answers to all this. You keep on saying very soon, very soon. We ask how soon.
Yes, park their cars at home.
People are trekking because of this hike. Business are not moving as it's supposed to be because they couldn't get petrol from yourself, but this petroleum hike, the scarcity is affecting businesses. So we need answers to all this very soon. If the government cannot provide job for people and people are left to provide job for themselves, then you should not be the person drawing them back any longer. So we need answers to all these things very soon. And still on the Sweet Crude, the big story says Nigerian content retains $8 billion annually, creates 50,000 jobs in 11 years. And the rider says to create 3,000 jobs, retain $13 billion industry spend by 2027, and $50 million for NOGAP manufacturing approved. Oil, gas firms flare 379 billion naira gas in 1 year. NNPC spent 89 billion naira on pipeline security, oil search in North, and we are spending a huge amount of money like this on pipeline security, and we still hear of smuggling of pipeline. We hear of leakages of pipeline. So what are we doing? Are we moving forward or are we moving backward? Because if you are spending a whole lot of amount of money on pipeline security, then we shouldn't have hitches around our pipeline. We should not have problems coming from the pipeline where you talk about vandalization and even the leakages coming from our pipeline. So when we spend amount of money like this, we need to look into to see that it is thriving. That's why we talk about auditing, because all these firms, they are not audited. When you are not audited, how do you give account of how money have been used? But when you see that they are audited, they know that they have to sit on they have to be on deck, because they need to fix all these things, because this kind of money money moving on to that place and there is negligence of all those things, then we are not moving forward as a country. And it starts from all these little sectors. If all these little sectors are being checked, then even the bigger ones will sit up. But if you are not checked, you just feel, okay, I can collect this money on pipeline security and use the money for my own personal self. Then you see that we're not moving forward, and people that are suffering will be the ones suffering, while the rich will keep on getting richer, the poor will keep on getting poorer, because they are suffering. Why? Because these ones are the ones eating from them, and it's our tax. So we need accounts for how this money are being spent, because you are paying the tax. You need to have details of how this money are being spent. So we need the auditing, the auditor general to be on deck, move around all these firms to look at how this money are being spent. If you have the interest of the masses at heart, you won't allow any fund, no matter how small it is, when it goes out, you won't allow it to be used the wrong ways. So we need all these monies to be audited, money that go out to all these firms, talking about pipeline security, talking about the NUPENG, the fuel scarcity issue. We need all this money to be audited for proper accountability of how these monies are being spent. And Ladle Samsung resolve dispute as $300 billion FDI into Nigerian on the ways. The last story says Nigerians power generation now 8,000 megawatts. This is coming from the minister. We're having 8,000 megawatts, and there are some places where they still have total blackout. So we need answers to all these things, because there was just this week, the Minister of Power said the dams, the lack of water in our dams are the ones causing the blackouts in different communities, in different places. I don't feel that is an excuse to having all this power shortage, to having this blackout. So we need answers to all this. Exactly. We need powers to be restored, because people are, aside having the power in your house to do things, there are people who use it for their business purpose. So power needs to be restored in the 36 states and even the federal capital. So you have it is in your jurisdiction. So whatever it takes to see that power is restored to people, it should be done. You should look out for ways power can be restored with people. People can go about their normal activities and even have power in their homes. That's all for the Sweet Crude report.
Thank you so much, Tosi. Before we move further to other papers, we would like to take a time out, and when we come back, we will open our phone lines. Our phone numbers are displayed on your screen, so do well to call us and let us hear your views on any of the story that is of interest to you, because there have been quite a number of interesting stories on our papers. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still from the Dailies, the current affair program on Echo Television, where we tend to look at various stories making the headlines from our Nigerian newspaper. And I'm Seda Elisha Dasham and Toso Wulabi have been here with me, and we've been reviewing the papers together. I told you that we are live on Facebook and also on YouTube, and our phone numbers are presently displayed on your screen. So please do well to call us and let us hear what your take is on any of the stories that have been of interest to you. So let's move further to the paper, and I'll be taking the Leadership newspaper. The first story here says terrorists kill scores of vigilantes in KB. President Muhammadu Buhari applauds contribution of women to national development. And we have businesses grown as diesel price hit 650 naira at depot. You want to know more about that story? You can look it up on page 7 of the Leadership newspaper. And we have Senate ignores court ruling, begins amendment of the new Electoral Act. Says the judiciary must respect principle of separation of powers. Directs INEC to register inmates to vote in the 2023. Constituent Committee on Sexual Harassment Bill. Actually hope that that bill will actually really stand, because the rate at which we are having rape cases, we are having lots of sexual harassment, especially domestic violence in the homes. I just hope that the bill will actually pass, and also it will stand, and we'll actually see it being used effectively, because it's one thing for this bill to be passed, and it's another thing for us to actually see that the rule of law take its place. Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Concerning the fuel, why other states are having fuel? Why only problem that we are facing only Abuja and some part of Nasarawa? I don't know, like, you see, the problem in this country is only God can help us. Because if we see all the police stations that are the black marketers, that they are having fuel now, but those ones that sell the normal price, they are not having fuel. So those ones who used to normal price, they're not those marketers. Just
Okay, thank you so much for that, that contribution, because just like we've been looking at the fuel scarcity, those who sell it at a normal price actually do not have the fuel. So we're still hoping and trusting something will be done. I was looking at the sexual harassment bill, and just like I said, I just hope that it will be effective after it's been passed into law.
Yes, pardon me to say that women are at the receiving end of all the sexual harassment, and even if communities are being raided, women are at the
Hello,
receiving
sorry to seem cuttish. We have a caller from Adama. Good morning.
Hello.
I can hear you. Please go on with your contribution. Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
I think the network is quite bad over there. Yeah, Tosi, you were contributing.
Yes, we need to secure the life of the girl child and even the women folks also, because with insecurity, we see women like in Kebbi State where there was this killing, 65 person. We had about the rape of women and even child. Now they don't even pardon that you're a married woman. They rape women. We see the like of Leah Sharibu that is still in the den of kidnappers. We have other people, the Chibok schoolgirls, some that are still in the den of kidnappers. So we say that women, girls are at the receiving end, still tackling insecurity. We need to look into this, and thank God for the reps considering this gender equality bill. We need to look out for ways we can secure the girl child. We need to look out for ways we can secure the women also.
Exactly, Tosi. Thank you so much. Rep passed 57 Constitution Amendment Bill, reconsider rejected gender bills. Borno student whose throat was slit undergoes 2.5 million surgery. Well, we really hope that the surgery will be successful at the end of the day. Ukraine war, Nigerian students get Romania study offer, and detail of that story can be found on page 8. And that's all from the Leadership newspaper.
Thank you, Sela. And on Business Day, Nigerians' petrol subsidy is set to surpass 3.36 trillion naira oil revenue. Obasanjo, Osuntokun, others urge Nigeria to strengthen foreign policy, extol Anyoku's virtues. Nigeria lost $2 billion to oil theft in 1 year, and this is a report from NATI. The last story on Business Day says list of big companies exiting Russia gets longer, and we have a picture story in the front page of the Business Day where we can see the Prime Minister, United Kingdom, Mr. Johnson, and Chairman, United Bank for Africa Group, Mr. Tony Elumelu, and Her Royal Highness Sophie Cortez of Wessia at a private meeting of Advanced UK-Africa Partnership and Empower Young Women in Africa. You can see people are looking out, individuals, groups are looking out to ways they can empower women, because we don't need to make women idle and see women relegate women to just childbearing and other duties, aside owning to responsibilities, aside being given responsibilities even in the government. We have women making us proud. Women need to be tried with all these things. We should not just leave them to just a particular place. So this gender equality bill is very good, and we can see the UBA partnering with other foreign countries on how women can be empowered. I keep on saying, when you empower a girl, you empower a nation. Empower women and see them thrive. Women should not just be dependent on the male folk for anything. Women need to be independent. Women need to go out. Women need to work. Women need to look out for nation building and be supporters of the country. We should not just be the ones voting, but we should have the right to be voted into key positions, and you'll see women thrive. We have a list of women who have thrived in different positions, women who are making us proud. So women should not be relegated, and this is good coming from other groups. It should not just be as a part of celebrating the International Women's Day, but we should see answers coming from all these things, answers coming from all this partnership, because we have this norm that after occasion is being celebrated, promises will come just for that day, and later on you see people saying they've not received those promises that were made to them. But we hope that those promises that are being made to women, those promises that the reps are trying to reconsider the gender equality bill, will come into play, although they've not set a particular date for the hearing. But we're hopeful that someday this thing will come to play, and women will take the mantle of power, women will take the mantle of authority and do exploits and be positive change to our country.
Exactly, Tosi. Thank you so much. Let's look now on the Guardian newspaper. We have Lawan reject court order on amendment of Electoral Act. Gender bill equality others top agenda as Nigerians mark International Women's Day. And the big story, which is making the headline on almost all our paper today, said court sack Umahi deputy, axes 16 lawmakers over defection. With the writer Umahi sues for peace, vow to appeal decision. Judgment contradictory to constitution, says council. And we have asked INEC to issue certificate of return to them. And also we have charges Eboyi chief judge to swear in its nominee immediately. And decision has opened a new vasa, said Ogumawodu. And detail of that story can be found on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Diesel near 650 naira per litre as firm. Resident embrace alternatives. And other story, Beldo takes charge, says APC zoning formula is ready. And the picture story here, we can see the Lagos State First Lady during a protest when it comes to the gender equality in the National Assembly of the 2022 National Women's Day in Lagos. And just like we've been saying, women can also do something great. They should be given the chance to actually prove the ideas that they have into power. And that's all from the Guardian newspaper.
Thank you, Salian. On the Punch newspaper, CBN increases currency in circulation by 418 billion naira over cash transaction. APC to release zoning formula, suspend zonal congress amid confusion. PDP submits Umahi's replacements to INEC, sacked governor seat tight. Court sacks 15 lawmakers, says Umahi. Legislators can transfer PDP votes. I remain governor, echoes judgment meant to embarrass APC. Federal government, says Umahi. And on Electoral Act, court can't stop amendment, says Lawan. Army probes 500 human rights violation petition against soldiers. While on crude oil price, man warns of hyperinflation, subsidy hits 400 naira, diesel 625 naira. Aviation fuel hits 580 naira per litre. Air travelers stranded to pay more. We rely on diesel. rise in price means higher cost of production. This is coming from Man. And on International Women's Day, close gender gap between men, women in governance, says Minister. Buhari mourns as bandits kill 40 vigilante in Kebbi ambush. And power disruption looms as second Niger bridge gets April completion date. Scores injured, shops burnt as Yoruba Hausa traders clash in Ogun. Osun PDP governor primaries produce Adeleke Babayemi as candidate. While on Bamishe's death, Sanwo-Olu slams critics, BRT suspends operations, family demands justice. Tinubu proposes meeting with APC reps caucus on presidential bid. And the picture story, we can see women protesting in different states, in Lagos, in Abuja, and also in Enugu state. And that's all the stories making rounds on the Punch newspaper.
Okay, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. International Women's Day. Protests over rejected gender bills. Governor's wife join push for action. House to reconsider no votes. And detail of that story can be found on page 29 of the Nation newspaper. Adeleke Babayemi claims Osun PDP governorship ticket. Electoral Act amendment. Court can stop us, says Senate. And the big story here, we have APC soft landing for Buni as Sani Bedu consolidate with the rider Yobe governor is out. Senate caucus decries uncertainty. And we also have picture stories here still on the paper. So you do well to check what the picture story is all about. And we have NYSC DG caution core members on free rides. Because lots of core members become like the agents of kidnap, because as a result of you feel you have your car key and then you just wave any car you see moving. The DG has seriously warned the core members to be careful about free rides, because this is how they fall victim of ritual killings and other vices. So we actually hope that the core members will actually pay good attention to the warning that have been given by the DG, because it's not just the core member. Because I remember when I was serving, that was the only means of transportation, because especially those living in the rural areas, it's very hard for you to get transport and a means of transportation to town. But while you wave any car for a free ride, you have to be very careful, because the days are evil and people are looking for any means possible to make money or to get away with evil behavior. So we hope that they will look into that. Another story still on the Nation newspaper here, we have Buhari to open second Niger bridge in October. And that is all from the Nation newspaper.
Yes, and on the Business Standard, we have FTA's top priority in Bangladesh post LDC strategy. Keen to work with United Arab Emirates for maximum mutual benefit. PM Hasina to Khaleej Times. And government moves withdrawal of VAT on edible oil imports. BSEC steps in to stop stock free fall. And still on celebrating the woman, meets the country's first woman to drive a train. So you can see women can thrive even in any business. Just give them a trial. And that's all on the Business Standard newspaper.
Okay, the paper I'll be taking now, which is the Daily Sun newspaper. Second Niger bridge ready next month. This is coming from the federal government. And we have IWD, women can no longer be deprived. This is coming from the President Muhammadu. Detail of that story can be found on page 27. Umahi talks tough after court sack. And we have the writer following that story say vows not to vacate office, heads to appeal court. Deputy 16 lawmakers also sack. And we have the next story here. Family of the murdered BRT passenger picks holes in driver's accounts. Appeals for Buhari and Sanwo-Olu for justice. I will actually hope that justice will be served at the end of the day. It will serve as a an example to many other drivers who have actually, you know, taken to ritual killing and other things, that they will know that the government stands against that. And just as reps have actually pushed for let's declare a state of emergency on insecurity, I think it's high time we actually take that seriously, because the rate of insecurity is becoming very high. Forget about the killings, which is even very serious. Ritual killing is becoming the order of the day, Yahoo plus and other things, you know. So we really need to be very careful of where we go, and that's why I see people coming out to say, even when you're applying any car, take a snapshot of the plate number, because road safety actually have a way of tracing the owner of the car or the person who bought the car that gave it to the driver. All these things are ways so that we can curtail this issue of ritual killing. So I actually hope that people will be careful when it comes to any car you apply. Be very careful. Make sure you go to the parks, because it's more, the risk is higher when you actually stop by the roadside with any car. But when you go to the park, it's more secure, even though some of these drivers have actually, you know, been used as like say vessels in the hands of the enemy. But we actually hope that we'll be careful whenever we ply any car or when we use any route.
Yeah.
Other stories here, we have a picture story here which can see the former head of state. We just hope that you can actually look into that story and see what the former president is actually saying here. We also have members of the coalition of women civil society group protesting the rejection of the gender bill by the National Assembly to mark the International Women's Day in Abuja yesterday. Okay, we have a caller. Hello, Friday. Good morning.
Are you hearing me? So they want to empower women. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, please go on.
So they want to empower women now. After they bring the empowerment, then they will start struggling. They will start struggling. They will start. Some people will carry the money and they start taking them, but they bring the money for empowerment too. But it is the time of empowerment. What person will carry the money and enter house? It will not reach anybody. Some will benefit it based on you know this, you know that, because you know this one, they will allow you to end. If you don't know anybody, that empowerment will not reach your hand.
Thank you so much for that contribution. You know, Tosi, it's still about empowering the woman. You know, any woman who actually loves you, when she's been empowered, even you as the husband or the family member actually benefit from it. So we believe that when it comes to empowering a woman, it will reach everybody, because a woman who has the heart of gold will actually make sure that it actually gets to her neighbors and every other person. You
Yes,
know?
I believe Mr. Friday is talking about the empowerment stopping only at the federal level, at the top, where people, okay, you are my sister, I will empower you, but it will go back to the grassroots level. But we are just hopeful and we are pleading that this empowerment should go down to the grassroots level, because there are people who need to be empowered everywhere. So this empowerment, when it comes, when this allocation and the fund is being raised on empowering the women, it should not just stop only in the city. It's not just stop only for your friends and your relatives, but it should go down to the grassroots level.
Exactly. Okay.
And on the sporting life, that's for the football lovers, we have Iguavon European clubs punishing Eagles for playing for Nigeria at AFCON, defends Igalo's invitation for Black Stars tie, and says it's risky to build new squad. Reds progress to quarter-final despite losing at home. And we have the Champions League here, Man City versus Sporting, Real Madrid versus PSG. And we have different stories concerning the football lovers and even the matches that you should expect. So do well to visit the Sporting Life to look out for matches that interest you and even stories that interest you.
Thank you so much, Tosi. Well, that is how far we can go on the program from the dailies. It has really been a pleasure having you, Tosi. I'm truly grateful. And also to our supporters, we're truly grateful on behalf of all of us in Equa Television. We are praying for you and we are trusting the Lord to continue to uphold you. And also to the Equa executive, we are